Okay. Chapter 4, it's pretty much covers from the courtroom to parliament. So by the late 2000s, Tundu Lissu had carved out a reputation that reached far beyond dust courtrooms and village meetings. That's what we have covered, what we heard in chapter 3. So he was no longer now simply an advocate for communities in Tanzania. He became a national voice, unafraid to confront the powerful. Somebody will pose the question, who are these the powerful? The powerful is the elite people in the government, in the ministry, the president office, and his work now with the association that he joined, the LEAT, and one of the most powerful organizations, the World Resources Institute, had taught him a hard truth. That was a key and significant component in his characters. Many of injustice he fought in court were born in the chambers of power, meaning the government cycles, where decisions were made without accountability. If he were to fight corruption and abuse at the root, this is what he learned, he would have to take the battle to the parliament itself. So in 2010, he decided to contest the seat for the Singida East, and he won the parliament seat under the banner of Chama cha Demokrasia na Maendeleo, Chadema, the main opposition party in Tanzania. The villagers who had seen him standing in dust courtyards defending their rights, his decisions was a triumph of principles. For those in power, however, it marks something that the arrival of a relentless adversary inside the very walls of government. Parliament quickly became his new courtroom. So he took a fight in parliament where others sought compromise. Lissu wielded the Constitution and law books like weapons. His speeches were fiercely, his tone unapologetic. He demanded only one thing, and one thing: transparency on government contracts, especially the one in lucrative mining and energy sector. He denounced the misuse of public funds, exposing scandals that embarrass ministries and shook public confidence in a ruling party. One of his most infamous, we can say infamous interventions was the list of shame. This is very popular back then. A document he helped compile himself and publicize that named senior government officials and business people implicated in corruption. The list was explosive, we can say, shaking the foundations of Tanzanian political establishment. For some, it was proved that at least, dared to speak truth to power. For others, though, it was betrayal, public shaming that challenged the culture of silence around high-level corruption. But Lissu was undeterred with all of those other people what they think. He once declared on the floor of the parliament in Dodoma, quote, "Our people are poor, not because this country lacks wealth, but because that wealth has been stolen. And unless we confront the thieves, we will remain poor forever," end of quote. His outspokenness earned him admiration from Tanzanians who felt voiceless. But it also painted a target on his back without him understand that. As a chief legal officer of Chadema, he was frequently at the front lines of legal and political battles with the Tanzanian government. And also as the president of the Tanganyika Law Society then, he transformed the Bar Association into a more assertive institution, challenging state overreach and demanding judicial independence. The more he spoke, the more the walls closed around him. Government security forces began to monitor his movement. He was arrested multiple times, charged with offenses ranging from insulting the president, can you imagine, to inciting public disorder. Yet, every arrest only amplified his voices. Crowds would gather outside police stations, demanding his release, and newspapers carried his fiery statements across the nations. In Parliament now, when he was in Dodoma, some colleagues of him whispers that Lissu was reckless, even suicidal, and in his defiance. But for Lissu, silence was a greater danger. To remain quiet while leaders plundered the nations was a betrayal, the people he represented. As the years went, his name became synonymously with the resistance. Supporters hailed him as a hero. Detractors branded him a troublemaker. But whether loved or loved, one fact was undeniable. Tundu Lissu had changed the tone of the Tanzanian politics. We all have to agree that. He was no longer just the advocate of the villagers. He had become the conscience of a nation. Yet, as his star rose, so did the risks, the arrests, the surveillance, the threats were warning signs of a storm on their rise. And in September now, 2017, that storm would break with devastating force. So chapter 5, this is the end of chapter 4. So chapter 5 will cover that devastating force. And the title of the chapter 5, The Price of Dissent. So thank you again for taking your time listening to what a wonderful, what I call it, the mini book title, the mini book title, A Journey of Courage, Tundu Lissu story. I look forward talking to you again on chapter 5, The Prices of the Dissent. Peace.